Hi, I am Shruti, and in this video we are going to cover how headlines, paragraphs, small text, and lists and much more are written in HTML. So here we have a folder by the name Hyperlearn Learnings, and inside this you can create a new file. This is for creating a new file, this is for creating a new folder, and this is for refreshing it, and this is actually for collapsing the folders or whatever you want to do with that. For now, we are going to create a new file in our hyperlearnings folder text.html. And now, and now you have this file ready right there. And now we will write the HTML code here and we will see the results right here. So here, the first thing that is in the VS Code is that you can just create it has already short snippets, code snippets, and when you write just the HT, you'll see this snippet of HTML5 and just click over it. And as you do this, you have the snippet ready. Okay, you can see this in a bigger screen. You have the snippet ready. Again, this is how we created. We'll understand all about this, like what's written there in the upcoming videos. But for now, let's focus on how to write texts. So everything that is shown in our browser is written in the body. Okay, so inside the body, if I write hello, then this is what we can see inside this. So everything that we are going to see is written inside the body. So let me open up with live server. Alright, and you can see this opened up our live server and we have hello written right there that we have written inside the body. But this is a text which is like it's the size of what the browser wants to give it, a default size. But what if we want the size of headline, the size of, suppose we want a headline, we want a paragraph, we want a small text, we want wavy text, or what kind of text we want. So that we can do using HTML tags. HTML tags are a lot, but in this course we'll learn a lot of HTML tags. But now we will learn the HTML tags that are used to write the text in HTML. So for now, let's say we have heading. For heading, we use h1 tag, that is h1. H1 refers to like a heading which is large, a large heading. So if I say heading 1, if I say heading 1 and save this, you can see how big it is showing right here, right? Suppose if I copy this and do it heading h2 and make it heading 2. And as I save this, you can see h2 is smaller than this. So for headings, we use h1, h2 up to h3, up to h6. So if I just copy and change this thing, and you can see we have h6. What's the difference in these headlines? The difference is we have heading, but in a different way. Like we have the bold one, then a little bit smaller, then a bit smaller, then a bit smaller, and the ending is at 6. At 6 is small, but it is bold. Okay, so this is how we write headlines in HTML. Now you were wondering what are these things that we are writing, h1, h1, and what are these? So these are HTML tags. This is the HTML tag is written as the smaller than sign and a greater than sign, and in between we have the content. And here also we have a smaller than sign, a greater than sign, and a slash to mark as a closing tag and the content inside it. So this slash says that it is our closing tag, and in the opening tag we don't have any slash. Okay, so this is how we write the HTML tags, and this is how we give whatever we want in the browser. Alright, now let's look at paragraphs. So we have P for that paragraphs, and for this paragraph we use You can see how VS Code is allowing us to write everything so easily because it's doing it automatically. We just need to read. We just need to read. We just need to write P. Okay, so you need to add all these settings in the VS Code to automate it. Then inside the P we have paragraph. So I'll say paragraph. So it is a paragraph. I save this. You can see this is a paragraph, right? So this is how we write headings and the paragraphs. Paragraph is, suppose I write one more paragraph right here and save this, you can see the another paragraph which is right here. So you can just give it paragraph 1, paragraph 2 or whatever you want, and you can just write the paragraphs right here. The next thing is small text. You write small text like this, small tag. You have a tag, in between you have the word small, and inside this you write whatever you want. Suppose I write all rights reserved. Save this. Here you can see all rights reserved. This is a small text. You can also change the font size using CSS, but for now we are just seeing that what we can do with HTML. The next thing is bold and italics. Suppose I want a text to be bold or anything to be bold, so I'll use the B tag, which is stands for bold. So I'll say here bold. But we have a strong tag for bold. In the HTML5, instead of bold, instead of B tag, we use the tag strong. So I'll say strong. So instead of using bold, you can use the strong. So we have the bold, we have the strong, both are working same, but the difference is this is of the older version and this is of HTML5. So we are using the latest version HTML5, so we won't use this thing. Also, if we don't use these things and I want to ignore it, I want to that written here only, but I want to ignore it. Like I want browser to ignore it and not show in the browser. So I'll just do control and then forward slash, control forward slash, and you have this commented out. As I save this, now you can see it is written right here, but the browser is ignoring it. So this is what we call it as comments in HTML. So this is how you comment out something that you want browser to ignore. So this all features are allowed by VS Code whenever you click on control plus slash, so it does everything for you. The next thing is italics. Now for italic we use I. Okay, so I'll say italics. This is italics. You can see how this text got italic. Alright, so this is what we call it as italics. But this is also of older version. So instead of this I, we use EM. So yeah, let's say here EM and EM. This EM stands for emphasize. And you have this italics and emphasize. Both are looking really same, but this is something that we use in the latest version and this I is something that we use in the older version. So we'll comment that out. Alright, now you have the bold and italics. The next thing, if we want, then it is subscript or superscripts. So we have SUP for subscripts like superscripts. Now what are subscripts? Something that you want to write at the above. Suppose we have 5 to the power 3. So we can write that, suppose I write 5 here and I want 3 at the power. Like, but here we have 5 3. We don't want it like this. We want this 3 to be above 5. Okay, so what we can do is instead of this we can just say here 5, and inside the subcategory we can add 3. So we have 3 as the super category, as the superscript. So that is how we write superscripts. The same thing if I do here subscript. So in the subscript, we can take the example of H2O. So we have here H2O. So as we write H2O, it actually It actually seems to be something like this, but we don't want something like this. We want this 2 to be below. So what we do right here is add the 2 in the subcategory and O at the end of this. So we have H and then 2 below and then O. So we have H2O. So this is how you write the superscripts and subscripts in HTML. The next thing we can see in text, that is code. Suppose we want to write codes in HTML. So that we can do right here is we can say a block code. Suppose we have a code which is inside a block. We can add a block code so that it can appear as a block. So we have code, block code, and inside that we have a queue element which contains the code inside it, and below this we have a site element which contains the name of the author that is written it. So let's say Elon Musk. Okay, so we have the site Elon Musk, but here we have the code sign. You can see inside this we can add any of the code we want. As I save this, you can see we have the code. Don't just redo it with this code sign and the Elon Musk as the site. Okay, so who has cited the code? So this is how you write a code in HTML. A simple thing, and due to this block code, it appears at the center as a block. Now, whatever you can see right here from these, that is strong, em, I, bold, or the q element, these are inline elements. We wrap them around the text. Okay, so these are inline, like you can see they are inline and they are not like this. Another two lines are formed right here. So that's not, so this paragraph is the block element because this forms two different paragraphs if we write like this. But the same thing we have written like this, but it's in an inline element. So that is why we call it as inline elements, and the paragraph is a block element. So block element is where the text gets to the another line, and inline elements is where the text and everything is in one line. Okay. Next thing in our text we'll see is list. Now there are a lot kinds of lists in HTML. We write list using li, which stands for list item. Now this is list item. So we can write anything we want inside a list item. So I'll say the first list item contains a car. So now you have the car, the food, and the study. So these are list items, LI. Okay, so as you scroll, you can see these list items looks like this. You have a list of these bulleted list, right? Now we have three kinds of list. One is unordered list, which is kind of this bulleted list. So we wrap this list around a UL tag. This UL stands for unordered lists. So I'll add the lists inside them. I'll click save. So these are unordered lists. Okay. But what if we want, instead of these points, instead of these bullets, we want something else? Suppose we want the numbers. So for that we add ordered list. This is unordered list, this is ordered list. So guess what? Ordered list stands for OL. Okay, so what you just need to do is add OL instead of UL. So I'll add OL, save this. You got 1 to 3, and anytime you add something else in it, it will get changed to something else. So if I say here, done, whatever, it got changed to 4. Like every number will be automatically. So this is how you write the list. The third kind of list here is definition list. These are value pair kind of list. Suppose if you want a value and then you want a key and then a value to it. Okay, so what definition list stands for? That is DL. Of course, this stands for definition list. Inside this we have DT, which stands for definition term, and we have the definition term inside it. So let's say term 1, and below this we have DD, which stands for definition description. So we have term 1 description. So I'll say term 1 description. So here you can see we have the term 1 and we have the term 1 description. You can add so many DDs after this DT so that you can see these are term 1 descriptions. You can add so many DTs. So if I copy this and I'll add this again, and instead of this one I'll do everything to 2, and you got term 2 and the term 2 of description. So this is how you create a definition list which contains the definition list DL, DT definition term, and DD definition description. One more thing we can do with list, and that is we can add an attribute. So suppose in OL if we go and we add an attribute of a start, the start attribute takes in the value, like if there is 1 2 3 4, but we don't want 1 2 3 4, we want it to start with the number 50. So I can just write here 50, and as I save this, you can see this got changed to 51 52 53. So this is the start attribute that you can use to change something. Suppose I do with 1 10, then it will be 10 11 12 13. So you can add whatever value you want to start with. Okay, so let's suppose 12, you have these. So this is the start attribute. The next attribute we can say is type. So if I do the type attribute, you can see here are the things that we can add in this attribute. The first one is 1. As I save this, you can see it is according to the numbers 1 2 3 4, like this, according to the numbers. If I change this to the capital A and save this, you can see it's according to the letters, the capital letters. But here start is 13, that is why it is showing like this. So if I do the start with 1, then it's A B C D. If you add small a, it's A B C D with the small characters. If I add small I, it's the Roman numbers in the small, and if I add capital I, then it is also the Roman numbers in the capital letters. So this is how these two attributes work in a list. You can start something with that number, and you can add the type to that list. So let's recap. In this video we have seen the headlines, the paragraphs, the small text, the strong text, that is the bold, the emphasized text, that is italics, the superscripts, subscripts, then a block code and cite, and then the UL, the OL, and the definition list DL. So that's it for this video. See you in the next one.